behind the scenes with future country rock blues kings and queens. Discover them first with Palm Mash TV. Palm Mash TV.
Well, hello there, Palm Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. You got a great interview coming up in just a moment, but before we begin, if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button and bell buttons below you there, and you'll always be notified of any new episodes whenever they're available. And leave a comment on the comment section if you like. We'd love to hear from you there. And if you pay attention to the description part and closing credits at the end of the show, there'll be contact info for you, so I hope you'll stay tuned for that. From Kingaroy, Queensland, Australia today, we have Larry Cann. I think he's a great artist, and I think you will too. And we'll get to that artist interview in just a moment. But first, let's have a quick word with the Kingaroy Show. So don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
It is Caden from the Caden Gordon Show. Today's best country mix. Check out my show at thecadengordonshow.com.
All right, we're back, and with us from Kingaroy, Queensland, Australia today, we have Larry Cann. Thanks for joining us, Larry.
Thanks for having me, as a matter of fact. And we've figured out the time difference, so it's good.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you anyway. How did it all begin for you as far as being an artist goes? I mean, I'm sure you love music ever since you were a little kid, but maybe you decided to do it much later in life. I mean, everybody has their own story. We want to hear yours, so go ahead and tell me in your own words.
Yeah, well, I guess music has been an integral part of my life. I mean, I started picking around with the guitar when I was about 15 years of age in high school. And from there, I was lucky enough to get into just a little dance band, basically, playing rhythm guitar for them, sort of about 2-3 years later. And then from there, I actually had a rodeo scholarship to compete in the United States. I was riding bulls on my weekends over here in Australia, and was lucky enough in 1989 to go to the United States and study, further pursue my education side of things, plus be able to rodeo and ride bulls and stuff with a college scholarship. And one of the first things that I bought when I first landed was I bought a brand new guitar. And so a guitar has always been pretty close to me all the way through. And as a matter of fact, I ended up, the degree that I was awarded in 1991 was at Rogers College or Rogers University these days in Claremore, Oklahoma. And that was a music degree specifically in country music, when it was still part of the Hank Thompson School of Country Music leg that the great legendary pedal steel guitar player Leon McAuliffe was an integral part of that. And Eldon Shamblin, the great guitar player for Merle Haggard, he would actually used to come to the college and tune the pianos and tell us some of his great road stories from even before he played as one of the strangers of Merle's. But that love of music, it sort of rung true for a long, long time. I had a band then once I moved back up into the northern states in Montana for about 6-7 years. I then relocated back here to Australia. And ironically, I gave music a break for about 10 years. And it was 2009. I come out with an album of rodeo songs and did a lot of collaborations with some of the top artists in Australia, which I was fortunate enough to become friends with through my radio side of things, which I ended up doing at the latter part before I came back from the United States. I studied broadcasting. And anyway, it was really, I'd kept it on a back burner a little bit longer again. And then when COVID hit and there was nothing to do on weekends, what better thing to fill the time than to pull the guitar out and start writing and picking and grinning again. And since then I've done a lot of writing and released 2 full albums since COVID. And the last album is the first time that I've released a full album of originals that I had a hand in writing every song. So it's sort of a new chapter for me, and I'm very, very excited and a lot of very universal subject matters in the songs that people can relate to.
Mhm. Well, that's quite a story there, and of course, you got a lot of great songs, and we're going to watch one of them in just a couple minutes here. But what are some of your influences? I'm guessing since you mentioned Merle Haggard, he was probably one of them. But anyway, tell us in your own words. We'd love to hear your influences.
Yeah, definitely Merle Haggard. Originally, I suppose the guys that really got me into loving country music was sort of the fellas that come out in the mid '80s. So Randy Travis and Dwight Yoakam, and I even come across John Schneider when he was recording just after he'd finished his stint with Dukes of Hazzard, and I loved his voice and you know, from there, I suppose I stumbled across and literally did because he'd never really got played in Australia at all up until the Pure Country movie. So I'm talking about the legend George Strait, and I come across a cassette that was in a little old record bar. And I was flicking through there, and the only reason I bought it was he looked like a cool cowboy on the cover, and it was the number 7 album of George Strait's. And then I ended up being a huge George Strait fan, and still am today. He's a massive influence on my music, and probably that '90s sound. I really enjoyed, you know, the Mark Chestnuts, the Tracy Lawrences, Joe Diffie. That sort of feel, and they're a real integral part of my music.
Yeah, you know, I haven't heard that name Mark Chestnut in a long time, but yeah, he was a pretty good one. I consider him a legend anyway. But yeah, you did mention a lot of good ones, and people may want to know more about you. Do you have like an official website? Do you have Are you on streaming media, social media, stuff like that? Tell everybody where we can find you.
Yeah, basically on all the digital download sites, if you look up Larry Cann, and it's LARRYCANN. And then, of course, if you want to go into the social side of it, well, pretty much Larry Cann Music gets you everywhere, whether it's the Facebook music page or maybe it's the YouTube channel. I've got Larry Cann Music on YouTube these days, and trying to keep up to date with that one. And, of course, the main website is larrycannmusic.com.
Okay. Well, check him out on all those places he just told you about. And I know he's really going to love you for that. And the song we're going to watch is called Craven Country, I do believe. There's going to be a great story behind this song. Why don't you tell us what that song is about?
Well, it's on the new album, The Songsmith, which I released across the world in the last 2 days, I think, of May. I think it was the official release date. And this was a song that I wrote on a songwriting session that I spent in Nashville in June of 2023, so just a couple of years ago. And anyway, there was a young up-and-coming star here in Australia that he was looking for some new material, and he's always been a fan of my music. And he said, I saw you were over there writing, Larry, in the States. He said, did you find something that might fit that I'm doing? And anyway, I said, there's this one song that I wrote with a expat Aussie that lives there in the United States. He lives at Gallatin, just outside of Nashville, Richie Scholl, who has his own solo career, but also is a part of that Seven Bridges Road Eagles tribute band that goes all over the United States. They're probably the best known Eagles tribute band that does all the big theater shows and stuff across the US. And Richie Scholl's a former Central Queenslander, and I've known him and his family for a long, long time. And anyway, we sat down, and I had this idea for this Craven Country song that basically says that, you know, things get too busy in the city, and sometimes you've just got to, you're craving that fresh air, you know, the mountains, just the openness, and just you got to get out and get away from the city, and you just need some breathing space. And hence we're Craven Country. So Craven Country was born. Richie and I sat down, wrote the song, probably wouldn't have even been not even 2 hours. And it was done from go to woe and come up with a nice traveling beat for it. And it just shuffles right along. And contacted Cameron Cusack who's based up in North Queensland. So quite a ways away from where I am. But he just fell in love with the song, and he said, let's do it as a duo. And Craven Country, the duo, was born and available on my new album, Songsmith. And I believe he's got a new album coming out in September, which he's included the track as well, because it's done so well for us here in Australia, and it keeps gaining more and more momentum right across the world.
Well, I love this song, and you guys are going to love it too, and we're going to get to that in just 1 second. But before we do, Larry, we appreciate you coming on the show today. We would love to have you back sometime if you have anything to plug for us.
Oh, for sure. Really appreciate your time today, Paul, and all the best with your summer over that way.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And without further ado, here it is, Larry Cann with Craven Country. It begins right now.
Punching the clock on another day, deadlines, coffee calls with more work piling up. The city's too damn busy, I just need an escape. Less busy's calling me to another landscape. The city life moves way too fast with everybody trying to go their way. Don't know how much I can stand all this concrete every day. I need to see more stars at night, less billboards and those neon lights. I know just where I need to be, yeah. 'Cause I'm craving country. Yes, I am. What do you think, Larry?
Close my eyes to another place of freedom, where mountains and trees reach way up beyond the sky. Need some room to move and some cleaner air to breathe, and a sweet cowgirl who wants to spend her whole life with me. City life moves way too fast with everybody trying to go their way. Don't know how much I can stand all this concrete every day. I need to see more stars at night and less billboards and those neon lights. I know just where I need to be. I'm craving country. Need to see more stars at night, less billboards and those neon lights. I know just where I need to be. I'm craving country. I'm craving country. We're craving country. Well, Cam, what do you think?
Oh, what you thinking, Larry?
Should we load up the rods?
Think that's about right.
Let's get off this pavement. Head on down a dirt road.
Down that old too, Larry.
Let's go drown a worm.
Let's sing some beer.
I think it's time for some fishing. See you soon, world.